So you probably heard the news by now that Roblox is hosting another event like The Hunt, except this time it's called Roblox Classic. The event begins on May 23rd, which is a week from today, and a lot of people are upset about the games currently being chosen because, well, a good majority of them aren't even classic Roblox games. I mean, they called it the Classic, so everyone's under this impression that it's gonna be about Roblox Classic games, right? Well, no, there's a lot of games like Blade Ball, Toilet Tower Defense, Gunfight Arena, Driving Empire, Bed Wars, Tower Defense Simulator, and several others that don't fit into the Roblox Classic category. And in this video, we're going to be going through a bunch of games that are classics that you should check out and maybe should have been in this event. I'll link every single one of the games that I'm talking about today. I will say something, I have seen some leaks, and from what I'm seeing, a lot of developers that are maybe on the modern side, like maybe it's a newer developer, they are making classic style custom maps and mini games. So it could be similar to like the retro glove that, you know, Slap Battles released, where maybe they create something that's custom. Even though the game's newer, they can still create these custom experiences that feel very retro. I will be covering the event next week, so make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get started. So the first game we're going to cover is a game called Classic Crossroads, and this one takes your traditional weapons like, you know, the rocket launcher, the paintball gun, you got a slingshot with marbles. This one's all about deathmatch, so you got like these trampolines you can jump on, you can, you know, blow stuff up. It's kind of similar to some of the other games we're going to be showing in a little bit, but back then it was like the tool set that they had were like rocket launchers. In fact, from what I understand, the first game on Roblox was Rocket Arena. But anyway, Classic Crossroads, cool map. I mean, you'll see a lot of games reusing this map a lot because it's just classic. The next game was in The Hunt, so this one's kind of controversial. Like, would you really consider adding natural disaster survival in a second event in a row? And my opinion is, why not? I mean, it is a classic, so if you're going to call the event classic, you should have one of the most popular classic games on Roblox to join. And yeah, I know you might say work at pizza places like the most popular classic, but I think Natural Disaster Survival is the one that most people know and remember. So yeah, I mean, Natural Disaster Survival, you can't really go wrong with this one. If you haven't played Natural Disaster Survival, like who hasn't? But just in case you haven't, it's a really fun game. Basically, each round you have different natural disasters. Like you could have a tsunami, you could have earthquakes, you can have like fire, but it's all about trying to survive the natural disaster. I mean, even if this is an old game, it's still fun. Even though it's a lag fest, it is a lot of fun. There's a lot of different games that were inspired by this one on Roblox that are newer and maybe a little bit better these days, but it's a classic, dude. Definitely check out Natural Disaster Survival. Next up, we have Work at a Pizza Place, and this is a really old school game. In fact, it came out, I think, a little bit later than Natural Disaster Survival, at least according to their IDs, okay? So Roblox has these place IDs, right? And Natural Disaster Survival had theirs. It's like 189707. Work at a Pizza Place was 192800. Work at a Pizza Place, you go in there, it's pretty cool. You basically take orders, chat with them, they tell you what they want. You have to click on the corresponding button of whatever they show an image to. Even a 5-year-old could play this game because it's so simple. In the back, you can be a chef. And so you basically have different jobs you can take and you get paychecks for doing a job. So it's kind of like a role play, kind of like, I guess, you want to act like you have a job when you're really little. So I think this game, you know, caters to a much younger audience. I mean, if you want to work at a pizza place, this is the game to do it. Next, we have another classic, which is Lumber Tycoon 2. And this game, you pretty much go around chopping trees, and it's a lot more than that. In fact, I think a lot of people just see the game. You know, you see people driving around with cars, and they're holding axes and just cutting up trees. And yeah, that is the start of the game, but it does get a little bit more progressive to more of a tycoon, kind of like Miner's Haven or something. You know, basically, you're setting up like a factory of wood, and you can make more and more money as you build up your factory and get better trees. Of course, you can go further into the forest and get more, you know, valuable trees. You can sell the wood here, you know, just drag and drop. This game's got a lot more complexity and depth than I think most of the games on this list, except for maybe Bloxburg, which we're going to get into in a little bit. Another classic I think should have been in the event is Epic Minigames, which makes a whole lot of sense. And who knows, some of these games that I'm going through might even be in the event. We'll see. If you like a lot of variety, this is a great game for you because there's so many different mini games. I feel like each time I go in here, there's a different mini game, even though I don't even know if they're updating this game anymore, but this is really like the go-to game if you're looking for mini games. This one seems like a no-brainer. They had it in previous events. I think it was in like Metaverse Champions. I don't know why this one's not in the classic. Maybe it is. Who knows? Definitely deserving though. Next up is Arsenal, and from what I've heard, at least I've seen leaks and rumors that Arsenal will be in the event, but if it's not, it deserves it. Dude, this is like the classic shooter. The game came out in 2015, so to me, that's still pretty classic. I mean, that's 9 years ago. That's a pretty old game, man. So, I mean, this is like the classic shooter. It's one of the most popular shooters on Roblox. Still, even today, I mean, they have 6,000 people playing it right now. I mean, that's pretty good, but Arsenal deserves to be in this event, especially if they put in like a retro style feel. That'd be so cool. Imagine Arsenal guns in like a retro map. And there's a lot of retro maps in Arsenal that could be funny for this. Speaking of shooters, another game that deserves to be in here is Zombie Rush, and I did see a leak or a rumor that Zombie Rush would be inside the Classic event, which is deserving. Like, it really needs to be in it. Fun fact, Zombie Rush is one of the first games that I played on Roblox. Like, I would say it's like one of the first 5 or so, and I got so hooked on this game. It was so fun. And yes, you are seeing me using the mini nuke gun. This thing is so OP. I made a video on this on my second channel like years ago, and it was just so much fun to use. Even today, like, I was playing this game, and I kind of got hooked, and I forgot I was recording. I was just like zoning out and playing and leveling, and it's just fun. It just goes to show that art is not everything in games. If you have a fun game, it's a fun game, and that's all you need. You don't really need all the fancy graphics. Now, Bloxburg is a classic, and oddly enough, like when you first load into this game, it says it's like still under development and it's brand new. I don't know if the developers know they have this message still at the load screen, but it clearly is an older game, and I think they've had some years by now to like smooth things out if they're going to smooth things out. But you can't really say that, hey, we're still working on the game. There might be bugs if your game's that old. Bloxburg is a classic. I mean, it's all about like role playing in this game. You can build a house, you could decorate your house. And some of these builds, dude, some of these builds are really, really crazy. Really deserves to be in the event. I don't think they would participate in the event. I mean, still, this one is a classic to me. Next is a pretty obvious one, and that is build a boat for treasure. If you've never played this game, there's a whole goal here that each section gets harder and harder, and your boat needs to be able to survive all the way to the end of the map where there's a treasure, and you can use that money to buy more blocks, or at least basically chests full of blocks, which in turn gives you blocks that you can then like make a better boat. So that's the game loop pretty much. Just try to keep reaching the end, keep farming gold, continue to unlock stuff so you can build really cool boats. This game is a classic. If you haven't seen Jesse TC's builds, you got to go check out his channel. He's got so many builds. They got like crazy like computers. They've got different types of vehicles. I remember they made like a working mech at some point. Like they made a zoo. Dude, they make everything in this game. It's insane. But build a boat for treasure is a classic. It's off the OG like graphics, and you know, they're not really upgrading it anytime soon to my knowledge. Another classic is Sharkbite. In fact, they call it Sharkbite Classic because they have a sequel, Sharkbite 2. So Sharkbite's similar to natural disaster survival. Instead of a disaster, you got a shark that you need to survive. Players are randomly chosen as the shark. So, you know, there's different game modes for that. I think there's like one that's like an infection mode where you can make everyone into the shark. There's also like a Titanic mode in this one where you got to take out the Titanic. There's just so many cool game modes, and this is a classic game. And the whole point of this game is as the shark, you need to eliminate players. And as a player, you need to either survive the shark or you need to kill it. So, I mean, the game is such a classic. Definitely still a go-to game for me. In fact, I think it's better than the sequel. There is Sharkbite 2 that came out and has like, you know, better graphics, some new shark stuff, new, you know, boats. You can build your own boat and stuff. Another classic is Flee the Facility. This game should have been in the event, man. It's so much fun. Yeah, there are only like, what? I think it's like only 5 players that could fit into a match, which I feel like they should have more. I did talk to Wendy about this a while back, and he said it just wouldn't work with the gameplay. They tried, but like they balanced the game for the best number of players, and 5 was it. So in Flee the Facility, you're literally trying to flee the facility. You have one killer that is randomly chosen. They use a hammer and knock the player out, and then they drag them to a glass tank thing, and other players need to rescue them. Now, during the match, you need to also hack computers. And so there's a certain number of computers that you need to hack in order to be able to escape to unlock basically they have like these vault doors that you need to pretty much unlock and escape the killer. So that's the goal of the game, is to escape the facility. Meanwhile, the player or the killer is trying to eliminate everyone or freeze everyone. Game's a ton of fun. It's like one of those classic killer games on Roblox. Definitely deserving to be in this event. I don't know why it's not. That's all I'm gonna say. Next game that deserves to be in the event is probably no surprise, Doomspire Brickbattle. So this game is pretty much similar to classic Crossroads, where you have your typical classic tool set of weapons. You got your slingshot, you got your rocket launcher, you got a sword and such. I mean, it's all the classic stuff. And but this one's all about basically blowing up each other's towers and taking out their spawns. So as part of blowing up the towers and knocking them over, you need to like take out their spawns as well. So the spawns have to be eliminated so you can eliminate the enemy team. So you can also use bombs to take out, you know, walls and such. It's a really fun physics game. They have a newer version of this out there called Super Doomspire Brickbattle. That one's a lot of fun too. In fact, that one's better in my opinion, but this one's a classic. It just uses all the classic items and weapons, and it looks like Legos, literally Legos. So I don't know why this one's not in the event. It should be. The next one we have is the Underground War. This one's kind of similar to the others, except you only have a couple different weapons. And the whole point of Underground War is it's like a capture the flag style game. It's real simple. You got a sword type shovel thing, which you can use to dig around under the map. So you just have to like, you know, attack the walls and it basically digs. You also need to go and capture the enemy's flag so you can get points and win. After that, the match is reset and you have like another 20 minutes to basically capture as many flags as you can. This one's a classic. There's been a lot of remakes of this mode, but this is a classic game with a classic feel. Definitely deserving. Obviously, Bee Swarm Simulator, I didn't include that. I definitely think Bee Swarm deserves to be in here. It's kind of classic. The game came out when I started playing Roblox, honestly, like shortly after, in fact, and I got hooked, man. I was like farming this game nonstop, and that's what really got me into Roblox in the first place. Bee Swarm Simulator, still one of the best games on Roblox in my opinion. One of the, I would say top 5. For sure. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Let me know if there's a classic game you think deserves to be in this event. Obviously, I don't consider some games, like if it was made in like 2019, it's not really a classic. Like I would have put Islands in here, but Islands is not a classic game. It's just, it's older. Yes, some people call it their childhood game, but that doesn't mean it's OG or classic. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next vid. Peace.